Pokémon. Just saying those words fills my brain with glee. Pokémon is one of the most successful, ambitious, medium-spanning media franchises of all time. And you didn't even need me to tell you that because you already knew. Most likely, everyone watching this video has had at least some sort of encounter or fond memory of Pokémon in some way, shape, or form. It's hard to escape, really, especially if you're like me and you've spent hundreds of dollars on the card game and you've spent hundreds of hours in the video games. But today I'm here to talk about an aspect of Pokemon's history that isn't so fun. One that literally physically harmed hundreds of small children in Japan on December 16th, 1997. I'm talking about the infamous episode of the first Pokemon anime series titled Inducing Porygon, or Cyber Soldier Porygon as it's called in English. This episode of the anime starts off with Ash, Misty, Brock, and Pikachu discovering from Nurse Joy that the Pokemon transfer system used to transfer Pokemon from one Pokemon Center to another is mysteriously broken for some reason. Nurse Joy requests Ash and his friends to go find the developer of the Pokemon transfer system, Professor Akihabara, and confront him about why the system isn't working. Once confronted, Akihabara tells them about how Team Rocket stole his Porygon and used it to travel into the Pokemon transfer system and steal people's Pokemon from them. Ash and the gang get roped into being sent into the transfer system with a spare Porygon from the professor. Once inside, they battle Team Rocket and remove the blockade Team Rocket has set up to hoard people's Pokemon. Meanwhile though, outside of the computer, Nurse Joy has called upon an expert to insert an antivirus program into the transfer system, which he uses to try and shoot missiles at Ash and his friends and Team Rocket. But Ash ends up saving Team Rocket and escaping the computer, with the help of Pikachu, who deflects some of the missiles using the move Thunderbolt. Everyone escapes, and Pikachu is humorously exhausted, and everything is fine in the end. Seems like an innocent enough concept for an episode, right? Well, yes, but the problem here lies in the execution. Because you see, the part in the episode where Pikachu deflects the missile with Thunderbolt caused a huge flickering red and blue explosion to appear on screen, which caused 685 viewers to be sent to the hospital in an ambulance. In real life. And while many of the victims recovered during the ambulance trip, more than 150 of them were hospitalized. 12,000 of their children reported mild illness after watching this episode as well. This obviously caused a huge amount of controversy all over the country of Japan and somewhat worldwide, considering Pokemon is, and especially was back in 1997, a giant cultural phenomenon. Immediate news reports about the incident were covered all over Japan, and the Japanese Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare held a meeting to collect data and discover the cause of this incident. What they found was that the red and blue flashing lights during the deflected Pikachu missile explosion caused some children to have photosensitive seizures. These type of seizures would only occur in 1 out of every 4,000 people normally while watching the show, but since 4.6 million households were watching at the time, that's a significant number of children that were harmed and affected. This episode was shortly after immediately pulled from airing, and was never broadcasted worldwide, obviously. It caused the Pokemon anime to actually go on a 4-month hiatus. A lot of fans of the show would worry that the show would get cancelled, and rightly so considering all the hysteria going around after the incident. But the show eventually returned, and regulations were actually set up so that flashing images couldn't show up in anime in this manner again. This is one of the most controversial points in Pokemon's history, not only because of the physical harm and impact it had on people, but also because of the general lack of information that was available during the 90s. You couldn't easily research stuff like this for yourself on the internet as easily as you can today, so people were really freaking out, to the point where video retailers in Japan actually pulled Pokemon from their shelves for a while out of fear. Nintendo's stocks actually also went down, and the president of the company at the time had to reassure people that the developers at Nintendo actually had nothing to do with the anime production itself. The situation was just a huge mess overall, and it's since become infamous online. But what about the contents of the episode itself? And did the flashing lights on screen add to the episode's overall aesthetic? Well, the episode is actually pretty solid. Nothing mind-blowing, but it's enjoyable though. It has every motif and plot beat that you would expect from a Season 1 Pokemon episode, and it's all done pretty well. There are Pokemon battles, a Team Rocket encounter, and fun action sequences. One of the best moments in the episode is when Ash's Porygon is fighting Team Rocket's stolen Porygon, and they both morph into shapes while they're fighting. It's really fun and cool, and at one point they turn into a sword and a shield and start dueling it out. It's really fun what they do with the Porygons in the episode. Having Ash and his friends fly around on the Porygon in the computer is really awesome, and lends lends itself well to the missile chase escape sequence at the end. And of course, the explosions from all the missiles look really nice. There's a lot of interesting visual design in the Pokemon transfer computer itself. There's a lot of wireframe-esque grid-like architecture with a lot of sharp 90-degree edges everywhere. I really like the color palette of the inside of the computer. It has a lot of dark purples and blues that are very 90s vaporwave aesthetic. The explosions on screen from the missiles, particularly the seizure inducing one, nearly pop off the screen in an insane explosion of color that honestly looks really cool. It's just a shame that it cause seizures. And just for the record, yes, this episode is perfectly safe to watch if you aren't prone to epilepsy. But anyways, that's gonna be it for this video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this exploration into one of the more dark moments in Pokemon's past. Tell me what you thought about this whole situation in the comments below, and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more content like this in the future. I'll see you in the next video.